guys, Long Haul Larry, Big Blue. Look at this thing. It really sucks too. This thing showed up, it just pulled up a little while ago. And they pulled up and I saw them pull up and I actually jumped out of Big Blue real quick. And the woman was getting out of here. It was a husband and wife team. And she was getting out. I actually startled her a little bit. I got out so fast, I decided to go for it. But I ran around to where the husband was getting out and I talked to him and I said, dude, I've been thinking about doing an extended cab. And I says, you know, you just pulled up. And I said, I got this YouTube channel, blah, blah, blah. I was talking to him a little bit, introduced myself. I said, I think I scared your wife. And she came around and I apologized to her. She was laughing. And we sat there and talked and I said, hey, would you be mind if I brought a camera out? I says, you know, would you give me like a tour and be on YouTube and stuff? And they looked at each other and they were like, yeah, we don't have a problem doing that. And I started to get in my truck to get the camera and everything, and then a car pulled up and honked their horn, and they turned around and they're like, oh, that's my wife's parents, we're visiting them. And I was like, oh, no problem, go. I says, I appreciate the offer to own. So it kind of sucked, I kind of, just a little too quick for the parents to come, but this thing here is quite the rig. This thing is like an RV, basically. But what they do is they actually, they go to shows and set up for exhibition shows and stuff. And I mean, they got awnings on these things. There's 2 slide outs. The other side has a whole slide out. This side over here is the slide out. And they haul equipment for doing exhibition shows around the country. And that's why they got such a big rig. It's because they actually, when they go and set up a show and everything, they'll meet a crew there. They'll have a crew that's hired and they'll come there and help them unload and set everything up. But there's not a lot of weight in there. Actually last night, 2 trucks with extended cabs pulled up to the fuel pump out there. And I went over and talked to the guy. One of them was a 128-inch sleeper and the other one was a 138-inch sleeper. And I talked to him about it and he was in a big hurry. And I didn't even ask him if I could look inside, but they were brand spanking new. He just picked them up from ARI down in Texas, and he was heading back home, and his wife was driving a big one, and he had the smaller one. And I talked to him a little bit about it, and he told me that the bigger one, he could haul about 41,000 pounds on a flatbed that he hauls. He does flatbed with the kind of the covered wagon type flatbed. And he said he can haul about 41,000 pounds with that bigger one. He said, but with the smaller sleeper, with the 128-inch sleeper, that one there, he can do about 43.5. So if I do something like this in the future, I think that's gonna be a big consideration, is how much weight can I haul? Because if I make this too big a truck, then I won't be able to haul big loads. And that'll kind of restrict me. But I thought this thing was pretty cool. I would have loved to see it inside. Bet you it's pretty nice in there. Well guys, you guys saw that big old truck next to me. That's pretty cool looking. But yeah, I saw 2 over there. I know a lot of guys in the comments have been trying to answer comments while I've been sitting here. And there was a few guys that suggested I contact ARI about an extended cab truck and everything. Now this guy just parked in the stupidest spot. There's like no room to get out of here now. Whatever. When you guys suggested ARI cabs, yeah, I've seen them and they do make some pretty nice ones. They're out of Texas. I've actually thought about looking to see where they are, see if I go close to there. Maybe I'll stop in there and do like a tour of them or something. That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, they do make nice. But when I talked about that in the last video and stuff, I'm actually thinking about making my own from scratch. That's what I'm talking about. So I would probably do that. I probably wouldn't buy a pre-made one. I'd buy, and I'm not looking for a glider either. I'm looking for a truck that I will rebuild and build to what I want. But and then some of you guys were making comments about the off-grid. What about the off-grid stuff and everything? Yeah, I still plan on doing that. It's been pushed back a little bit because money-wise, it's gone to other places and stuff. You know, it might take an extra year or so to kind of start that whole project going, but I plan on doing the trucking and that at the same time. I plan on, when I'm doing that, I thought I've described this, that when I'm doing this, I'd be doing it and build something, and then when I got low on money, I'd still have a truck that I could go out and work for 3 to 6 months or whatever and make a bunch of money, come back, and then work on building up, you know, more stuff and everything. I plan on doing both of the things. So there you go. I am still in Sullivan, Missouri. I've actually just got done doing a 34-hour break. I pulled in here yesterday morning, did my shutdown. I got up, had something happen, kind of got me a little bit worked up and everything, and sat here and just kind of calmed down. Maybe I'll talk about it in the future, I'm not sure. But, you know, and I sat here, and then it was like yesterday evening, I was sitting here and I was like, okay, I can take off and run down there. And then I was like, I got plenty of time. I don't have to be there till Monday morning. And so then I was just like, you know what? In fact, I'm going to look at this just to make sure. I'm screwed up on my appointment. I believe it's Monday morning at 5 a.m. Oh, 8 a.m. Great. I have a later appointment. So yeah, especially then. So I would have been down, you know, down there real late tonight and everything else. This way I just sat here. I actually did a 34-hour break, which I hate doing. I hate doing this. I hate truck driving and sitting in a truck stop to complete a break. My feeling is, if you're going to do a 34-hour break, send the driver home. You know, why are you forcing a driver to sit in a little truck out in a truck stop, eating crappy food, not seeing your family and everything else, when you can do that at your house? You know, hate doing it, but I did it. So I've been here for 34 hours and stuff, and I decided just to hang out here, and I've been talking to people and stuff, and I ended up going to sleep last night. So I just slept all night long, and then I thought, well, let's do this. And I'm actually showing I got 570 miles to go, and I'll be in there at about 11 p.m. So I'll just pull right into the place, and I'll do my 10-hour break there. In the morning, I'll get up, go check in, they'll unload me. I'll have my 10-hour break and be ready to go for whatever. Oh, cool. A Swift driver actually pulled out, so now I can get through there. But we got a couple bad dad jokes. First of all, June 14th, why did the runner stop listening to music? Because she broke too many records. Get it? June 15th and 16th, if you ever get cold, just stand in a corner. Start over. If you ever get cold, just stand in a corner for a bit. They're usually around 90 degrees. Get it? Get it? Get it? A corner, 90 degrees. And hey, somebody left a comment. I'm trying to find it here. Big D1 channel, he says. He made a joke, and it was kind of a bad dad joke thing, but it kind of relates to me. And he says, I just made this up. LongHaul Larry was walking next to a cornfield and telling himself a bad dad joke. One of the corn stalks heard him and said to him, "Man, that was corny." There you go. All right, we're gonna have a chat. I really can't believe I'm gonna talk about this, but I am. Oh, here's this con artist. There was somebody else that says, "Oh, I call BS on your miles or whatever, and how many miles you said you did in a year." No, it's what it is. And he said, and I actually made a mistake. I said it was 282 when I got in the truck. Con artist said he put a link to the video and said you can go back and look at it. He says you were at 260,000 when you started, so it was actually 20,000 more than what I said it was. Let's see. right, here we go. I really can't believe that I'm gonna talk about this. We can get going now. I can talk and drive. I really can't believe I'm actually gonna talk about this. I think that you guys will have a good laugh at me, or laugh with me, or you might even cry a little bit at how sad this is. But I don't know what this RV's doing. But I can tell you this right now, Joe. You better empty your ashtray, because this is going to be a good one. This is all at my expense. So, here we go. So, Cooter56. He sent me a comment like 3 days ago. And he was saying, what is a domestic partnership? Question mark. And I know where this came from. The question came from, he must have found me on Facebook. And on Facebook, I have it listed that I'm in a domestic partnership. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. I'm not really sure what that totally actually means. But the actual, correct definition of it is. But I kind of took it as, some states, if you're gay or whatever, you can't get married or whatever. I think that's kind of what it is. And I'll tell you the whole story why it was changed. That's what's going to be the funny part. But somebody mentioned to me that it still said on my Facebook that I was married. Well, I never go on my Facebook. I'm never on there. The only reason why I have the Facebook is because there were snowmobile groups that would put out how the trail conditions are, places I'd go snowmobiling. So I'd be able to look on there and say, oh, it's good here, and then I'd say something to my brother and we'd go there. It was a good way to keep track. So I never go on this thing. I haven't been on there for a long time. And somebody mentioned to me that it still says I'm married on there, and I'm like, I don't really care. And so one day I logged on there, and I thought, okay, I'll change this. And I looked at all the different options, and I was going out through it. Well, single would be the one, that you'd pick. And I looked at the other ones, and I saw domestic partnership, and I thought that was pretty funny, actually. So I changed it to that one. Who am I in a domestic partnership with? Here's my domestic partner. So there you go. I'm in a domestic partnership with Johnny the Chicken. Everybody always says, stop choking your chicken. Well, there you go. So yeah, so that was it. And then he says, what happened to the living off grid? I already said that. That's going to be going along. I'm still going to be trucking when I'm doing that. Just to make money. So here we go. Here goes the story. I can't believe I'm going to tell you guys about this. I really can't. But I think it was about a month and a half ago. I was sitting around, and life's pretty good. Life's good for me. Everything's good. I'm happy. Everything else is going well. Got all these goals I'm working towards and everything else. I've been divorced for a while and everything. And I decided to give online dating a chance. I thought, the one thing I don't have is a woman in my life. So I decided the easiest way for me to do this, because time is of an essence for me, would be to do the online dating. Never mess with her, nothing. So I decided, all right, let's do this. Let's meet some, different women. See if we find one that's interesting. So I went online and I think I Googled it or something like that, and I said, online dating app to find women in my area or something like that. So it came up with an online dating app. It's like, okay. So I logged on there and looked at it, and I thought, okay. And it was like a 3-day trial or something like this for like $3.99 or something like this. I thought, all right, that's nothing. I can do that. See what kind of this entails. It's been crazy. I'll tell you that right now. It has really been crazy. I was kind of gone for a while when I was doing all the stuff with the printer and trying to get all that set up and everything else. This was also going on this time. And I did talk to John over at Jeopardy Travels a little bit about it. Told him a couple of these stories going on. And he was just busting up laughing at me. And I guess he even said on one of his videos, John, he can't keep a secret. And he even said something about that I was in a love triangle or something like this. And I'm like, shut up, John. I'm not going to tell these people that. And here I am making a video about it. But yeah, I went on some online dating apps. So I logged on there, created a little profile, took a couple selfies, which I've never done that in my life. I am not a selfie type of guy. Even though I got cameras pointed at me and everything, I'm not a selfie guy, okay? So I took a couple snapshots, put it on the page, kind of wrote a few things on there. And to be honest with you, I was just kind of like looking to meet, some women, see what's out there, see what's going on and stuff. Wasn't really, hey, I want to get married or nothing like this. I'm only looking for somebody who wants to get married or something, I'm just kind of looking out there, see what's going on. So I did this and I put this profile up. Put my phone down. I was actually at home. I went out. I was doing some work on something. I come walking back in, and as I walk in through the house, I hear my phone. Ding, ding, ding. And I'm like, boy, what's going on there? Somebody's really trying to get a hold of me. I figure it's text messages or something. So I go over and grab my phone, and it's just messages and messages and messages from all these different women. And I was like, whoa. So I sat there and I started going through all these messages. And I don't know, it was a couple down or something like that. Clicked on it. Woman was attractive. And I thought, okay. And so I started talking to her a little bit. And we sat there talking. We talked back and forth a few times and everything, a couple things back and forth and everything. And it turned out that she lived that she was just 15 miles away from me. And then all of a sudden we text for a little bit, and all of a sudden she goes, hey, I want to meet you. And I'm sitting there going, what's everybody got a hard time about this stuff? I mean, I go on there and, probably 15 minutes, a half an hour, I got some, woman who wants to meet me already. I mean, this ain't hard. This is easy here. Like, where was this when I was young, And so I was like, okay. And she's like, yeah, there's this bar at blah 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 place. She goes, let's meet there and have a drink, we'll talk and stuff. Like, whatever, sure, sounds like a great idea. And I'm like, I'm sitting there and I'm going, and she goes, well, what time could you be there? And I says, I can be there anytime. I'm home, so whenever you want. And she goes, oh, okay. She goes, I just have to get out of work. And I said, well, where do you work? And she's like, well, I work right here, in Fond du Lac, which is pretty close. And I'm like, okay. I said, well, let me know when you get off work. I said, I'm kind of a night owl, so if it's later, it's fine. And sat there for a little bit. And then all of a sudden I get a text message. And she goes, hey, I'm having trouble getting out of work. She goes, maybe you could help me get out of work. I was like, what? Okay, how am I going to help this woman get out of work? I don't know what she's talking about here. And I just kind of okay, how could I help you get out of work? Well, then Austin, I get a, she messaged me back, and she sends me a link. And she goes, go here and write me a good review. And I'm thinking, what is this? So I click on it, and guess what it was? Here this woman is, and she's got one of these, I don't know what to call them, sex cams or whatever, in her house. She's on the computer, basically naked, messing around with herself. And I'm like, whoa. And I'm like, all right, I want to, you know, I'm like, I don't know. I'm not here to judge anybody, whatever. I don't know. I didn't know what I was doing. You know, I was just like, yeah, this ain't for me. So I quick typed out in the comments, I'm like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever, you know, and I logged out or something like that. And I was sitting there and I was like, really? And I text messaged her back. And I'm like, who am I to judge? I don't know. You know, it wasn't like there was, you know, a porno or something. I don't know. I probably wouldn't have even talked to her anyways after that, but whatever. But I still texted her back, and I'm like, well, there you go. I left you a review. A couple minutes later, she goes, oh, that's great. And she goes, I'm hoping to get out of here soon and stuff so we can meet up. And I'm thinking, you know, I don't know. I don't know about this whole deal. And then also a couple minutes later, she goes, well, I talked to my boss, and I still don't have enough good reviews to get out. And she goes, or no, she texted me first. She goes, do you have an email address? You know, and I've owned businesses and stuff, and I've had people trying to scam me and everything else. And I thought, all right, there's really nothing she can do with an email. So I gave her an old email address that I never use anymore. It's not attached to anything. So I gave her this email address. And gave her this email address. Come on, truck, go. And we're gonna have to go. And gave her this old email address, and I was like, there you go. And I kind of wanted to see what this was leading to tell you the truth. I kind of felt like I was a scam. And I gave her the email address and said, there you go. A couple minutes later, I get a message from her, and she goes, okay. She goes, my boss says I still don't have enough messages or enough good reviews to get out of here. She goes, but he said I could get out of here, but he wants to talk to you first. I'm like, what? I'm like, what in the heck is going on here? So I didn't even respond. I was like, whatever. And sure enough, a couple minutes later, ding, I get an email. I'm curious. So I open up this email, and I'm like, what in the world is this? And sure enough, there was an email from a guy, and he's like, you know, Stephanie's boss. And I'm like, okay. And what do you think it was? It's the first person I ever talked to online like this. And I opened up the email, and I'm Stephanie's boss. Well, what it was a contract for prostitution. I actually have an email that is a contract for prostitution this guy sent to me. And it was, for the low price of $250, I could have Stephanie's services for 3 hours. And for the ultra low price of $400, I could have Stephanie's services for 8 hours. I jaw just about dropped. I could not believe this. I mean, out here on the road and stuff, you know, truck stops and all this stuff, you get a lot of the, you know, the hookers and stuff, you know, the prostitutes coming by, the lot lizards as they're called, whatever. And they come by and knock on your door and stuff, and it's all like, you know, go away. But, you know, I've never actually been approached, not in my semi, by a prostitute. It really did shock me. And I just couldn't believe it. It blew my mind. And so I messaged her back and I says, listen, I'm not interested. Thanks for the offer, or something like this. And I said, I don't think I'm that homely of a guy. If I want to go out and just find sex, I think I can do that without paying for it, but it's not really what I'm looking for, so no thanks. And then she's all like, oh, come on, it's all good. I'm like, no thanks. I just left it alone, whatever. So, yes, I have a contract for prostitution in my email. And someday, when I build a new house and everything else, I'll have, a basement with a little rec room, a little man cave or whatever. I am going to print that puppy out and I'm going to frame it and put it on the wall. That's something that you frame. So there you go. That's a pretty good one. The messed up thing about it is, it was like a day later. She kept texting me and I just never answered back to her. And then the next day she even was texting to me and stuff. And I sent her a message. I said, listen, I'm seriously not interested in this. Then she texted me back. She goes, hey, if money's the problem, she goes, I can lower the rates. You know what I responded back to her? I said, now, that's not a good idea. You shouldn't be doing that. I says, then you're kind of like a Kmart. You're kind of doing like a store closing, 50% off. I says, all you're doing is downgrading yourself. I said, you should think higher of yourself. It was pretty funny. So, yeah. And then finally, eventually, I just blocked her and went away. But yeah, there you go. That was my first online dating experience. There was, and the next day I actually, I went back on there and I'm like, okay, that was crazy. Let's see what else there is. And I clicked on another one and I started talking to this woman here, and she was attractive too. And, I went back and forth a while and everything. And the same thing. She's like, hey, let's meet. And I'm thinking, oh, here we go again. I got another prostitute. And I was just thinking about it. I was thinking, there's just no way it could happen like this. And I said, sure, where do you want to meet? And she told me where she wanted to meet. She's like, what time can you be there? And I'm like, I can be there at this time. And she's like, okay, meet you there. And I'm like, okay. I actually did go there. And I met her and stuff, talked to her just for a couple minutes. And then all of a sudden she looked at me and she goes, well, I'm all good. She goes, do you want to get a room? I just looked at her and I'm like, what? And I was like, nah, I don't think so. I just said, I'm all good. I just walked out. I left her there and stuff. Probably astonished her because she was pretty good looking. But yeah, I just wasn't all into that. So, but I have met a few women on there. I got off of that dating site. I found out that dating site was pretty much just kind of like, hookups type things, meeting stuff. So I was like, yeah, I'm not in this. I kind of did some thinking and thought, if I'm going to be looking for somebody, I want somebody serious here. And so I actually did go and subscribe onto a different, a legitimate dating site thing. And I went on there, and I've met a few women. And, they've been, average women. It's, real women, I mean. And I've met a few, had cups of coffee. I've met a few at different places, a cup of coffee or something. And what really astonished me is the first couple of women that I met, I kind of didn't think to ask this question because I thought it was kind of a given. But when I met them and stuff, we sit there talking about different things, and I'd ask them, how long has it been since you're divorced? First two women I met, they're like, oh, I'm still married. I was like, what? And you're out here? And they're like, yeah. And the first one was like, yeah, I'm unhappy, and I'm thinking about making a change. And I was like, listen, for the first thing, you should have said that because you're deceiving me. That you're talking to me and you're available. And I says, And she's like, well, I am. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're married. And I says, I would never go on a date with a married woman. I said, that would never, ever happen in my life. And she's like, well, you know, we're both unhappy. We're going to get a divorce. I says, no. I says, for one thing, you need to finish your relationship. You need to have closure. You need to find yourself and figure out what you want. I says, what you're trying to do is you're trying to use me as a stepping stone. You're trying to find the next guy before you get out of the last one. I says, that's not cool. I says, your next relationship's not going to last. And so I left. And I met another one the next day. And I met her. And I just didn't think you needed to ask that question. And I met her and we started talking and I asked her, she was divorced. I said, how long since you're divorced? She's like, I'm still married right now. And I'm like, what? And it was just boggling me. And hang on. It was just boggling me. And I'm like, how could you do this? And she goes, oh, well, I told my husband when I left that I was coming to meet you. He knows about it. It's all okay. She goes, we would have a divorce already. We just can't afford it. And I looked at her and I'm like, what? And she goes, yeah, he goes on dates too. I was like, dude, I'm not getting in the middle of this whole triangle here. And I have met a few other women, and very nice and everything. It just hasn't, you know, I'm being very particular, I guess, because I'm older, and I don't want to make the wrong choice. You know, I'm not into some big hurry or anything. And I don't have to make this choice right away, and I don't have to, not in a big rush, and I don't want to make a mistake and stuff. I want to find somebody that this is going to be the last, woman that I ever go on a date with. I tell you right now, I have no preference in being 65 or 70 years old going onto a dating site. This time was enough. But I'm pretty much done with it. I'm done with it anyways. I've actually been turning them off, the sites that I was on. I've discontinued the services on them and closed them off. So I'm all done with that online dating stuff. There was some crazy stuff. I met some really crazy people. It's really crazy how, I'm 49 years old. And, I know I don't quite look like I'm like 50 years old and stuff. I don't have gray hair. I'm not terribly fat. I'm a little overweight, but not crazy. But I had a lot of women on these sites that would contact me, and they were like, I had some that were like 28, 29, and I'm just like, ew. I'm like, I got daughters almost your age. I'm like, that is never gonna happen. And I've had a lot of women contact me in their 30s. And that's still young, 33, 36. That's still pretty good span. But, and there was a few of them that I actually had conversations with, but the answers and the conversation back and forth, that I could tell that they were not that mature, they just weren't at where I wanted somebody to be. That's how I kind of just ended it. And then of course, when you get in women that age and stuff, do you want children? Yeah, I probably would like to have another child or something. Well, not here. This baby making machine is closed down. So, I'll be like, nope, not me, not this guy. See you later. But there has been a lot of women in their 30s, and I'll give you guys a tip. If you go onto a dating site, they make this profile, and you get these real beautiful women, and they're like, 10, 15 years younger than you, and they say they like you or whatever, and you look at their profile. I'm going to give you a little tip I figured out real quick. If they put their phone number over their picture, and they write on there, text me, and their phone number, don't do it. I figured that out really quick. Like I said, I've had businesses in the past and everything else, and I have, oops, stay on the road, Larry. And I have been contacted and people trying to scam me and everything else over the years and stuff. I've been through this, and so I kind of can pick out this stuff. But I have had so many women on these sites, and it actually became a game to see how quickly I could trip them up. It actually did become a game like this. It was really funny. But it was really funny. They would contact me, and I would text them, and they'd start texting me back and forth. And then after, like, you know, a half a day or a day of texting back and forth and talking back and forth and stuff, then all of a sudden it came out, and every one of them was the same thing. Their dad has passed away. Every one of them, their father's gone. I think it's something because they're younger, and so they're trying to make it sound like they're looking for a daddy thing. Maybe that's why they're looking for an older guy or something. I don't know why they do this. But their fathers passed away. Some of them, both parents have passed away. And they live with an uncle or a grandma. And they'll put down a city that they live by that, you know, I would say, okay, well, they live half an hour from me. That's not too far where I can see them. And so then you start talking to them. Well, no, I don't actually live in that city. I'm actually in Ghana. It's in Africa. That's the big thing, is they're all, when you start talking to them, they're from Africa. And it's just like, really? You know? Because Africa uses all this stuff trying to scam people through the internet and stuff. It's a big thing. And and some of them are, why would you go to Africa? Well, I came here to study cosmetology. Really? There's no place in the United States that you could have went to study, you know, makeup or something. You know, come on. You know, it's just crazy. And it always comes out, their fathers pass away, and then after like a half a day or even a day of text back and forth, I just talked to my mom, and she let me know of this great news. And I'm like, okay, what's the great news? Well, I just told her that I found the man of my dreams. And she says, that's great. And she goes, I've been waiting for you to find the right guy, and now that you found the man of your dreams, I want to let you know something. Your father left you an inheritance, and it's in the UK or something or whatever, and it's in storage and stuff. He used to work in the mines and stuff, and at today's value, it's probably around $7 million of gold. You know, I hate this. This cop sits right here on the shoulder. Sitting in the UK and stuff, and I'm like, oh, well, that's great for you. No, it's great for us. This is, you know, I needed to find a good man that would help me with this. My mom said she was going to let me know until I found somebody that was reliable and stuff. I'm like, oh, well, that's great. And I said, well, let me know when you get all the money. I says, we'll go out. and then they always come up, well, hey, I was wondering if you could help me out and send me some money for airfare to get there, because I'm really strapped for cash. Or otherwise, that was the big one. Or otherwise, it was they would say, "Hey, send me a picture of you." So I'd send them one of my selfies that I took, and they're like, "Oh, that's great." And then I'd be like, "Okay, well, send me a picture of you." And they're like, "Oh, yeah, I can't do that. The internet is so terrible here and stuff. If you could, I'll tell you what. Give me a gift card so I can get some internet, and then I can send you pictures." It's so crazy. It is unbelievable what the scams out there. It is really, really crazy. So I actually had fun with it for a little while, but then it was just nonstop. And finally I was just like, whatever. But I quickly figured out if there's a picture and it says text me written over the picture with their phone number, it's a scam. It's 100% scam every time. So, but yeah, so I'm all done with that stuff. Everything else, I don't know. You know, there's a few women I've met and stuff and everything, but really haven't been to one, I guess. You know, and I'm not here to mess around, and I'm not in some huge hurry, so I'm not gonna jump on something really quick and everything that I'm not sure about. There is one that I've been talking to, you know, off and on quite a bit, and I don't know, maybe in time there might be something there. Who knows? But I thought you guys would find that interesting. So there is my experience on the online dating apps. So I had a contract for prostitution. I had a 5-minute meet and hey, let's go get a hotel room. I was just like, where was this stuff when I was young? And I mean, like, now I kind of actually don't want any of that. You know, I want something real. And a lot of married people on there. It's pretty crazy. So, I don't know. I just found it to be a lot of games and stuff, so I got off of it. So there you go. There's my experiences. I figure you guys are probably laughing at it. I can't even wait for the comments on this one. I'm gonna get nailed on the comments. I already know this. I really can't believe I'm actually making a video about it. But I thought you guys might find it funny and interesting. So there you go. So we are just rolling across Missouri. We got 531 miles to go, and we're showing ourselves 10:30. We should be arriving there, but I'm gonna end up having to do a half an hour break, so it'll be like 11 o'clock. So I'll catch you guys later. I hope everyone out there is having themselves a great day, a great night as you're watching this here video. And if you're not, you can always try it over again tomorrow. Or you can go on some online dating sites and have some fun playing around on there. There's a lot of games on there. Here's the funniest thing. I told John all about this, and he's like, and on these sites, these women, you know, they want to know more about me or whatever. I'd actually say, you know what? I'm on YouTube. My whole life is on there. And so I'd actually give them a link to one of my YouTube videos. And I was talking to John about it, and he's like, oh, you should just tell them to go watch your videos. And I said, I do, John. And he says, really? And I says, yeah. He's like, well, then you're getting more views by doing that. I said, there you go. I said, I should just put it on my profile. If you want to check me out, here's my link. And these women are coming and get more views, huh? And he's like, yeah. And then John went, maybe I should put out some online dating profile. Maybe I should make some up, get more subscribers. And I was like, John, you're married? He goes, well, I wouldn't talk to any of them. I wouldn't answer anything back. He goes, but they'll come and check out my videos. I was just like, oh, jeez, okay. So there you go. Alrighty, I'll catch you guys later. See ya.